All right. Welcome back to Marathon Minute.
Yep. We are about 24 hours, no, actually 12 hours after your home opener, Max, for the Roots.
We are. Yes. Obviously not the way we wanted the game to go for our home opener. But again, we showed a lot of flashes of what we're capable of and what we can be when things are clicking. What an atmosphere. You were there. How was it?
I was just about to give a shout out to the whole Roots home opener experience. We had 5,500 people there, sell out at Laney College.
I think there was more than that. It looked like it was standing room only in a lot of areas. Yeah. I don't know if that was on purpose or what, but it was rocking.
If you have not been to a Roots game at Laney, I strongly recommend it. And it's not just because you play for the team. It's a great experience. It really is a great soccer experience. It's a great community experience. The cross section of folks that you get to those games is amazing, from the folks who are super soccer fans to the totally social, hey, it's a happening in Oakland, and everything in between. It's really quite cool, Max.
Yeah. They do a good job of making it an Oakland experience, whether it's the music they're playing, they got Bruno doing spray paint. They got food trucks from local vendors. My guy, DJ Rafik on the boards, the ones and twos, supporter of Marathon Minute. Shout out DJ Rafik. But yeah, unfortunate not to get a result. On a personal note, it was nice to be back in the 18, healthy enough to, be in the mix. Bummed that I didn't get to make my season debut, but hopefully that's coming soon. And there's no time to sit around and feel bad for ourselves. We got 2 games in the next 5 days. So we're looking to make back these drop points ASAP, and not in an easy environment going to New Mexico, but it's a fun place to play. They packed that stadium, and that's a great place to go get our first 3 points of the year.
Yeah, you'll have 11 or 12,000 people there. You'll have a marching band come in. It's crazy scene in New Mexico. Big stadium and really great fan support. I had a really kind of fun experience while standing in line to get in. Can I talk about that for a moment?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was a long line to get in to the ballpark, because you have to go through the metal detectors and then check your ticket. So I found myself at the back of a very long line, and I was with like 15 folks. They were all in their 20s, maybe early 30s. They all knew each other. And
you fit right into that environment, don't you?
Well, not exactly, but I was kind of just with them. And finally, one of the young ladies said, "Hey, have you ever been to a Roots game before?" And I go, "Well, yeah, quite a few. My, last year I went to a lot of Roots games, and my son plays for the team." They said, "Oh, who's your son?" And I turned around because I was wearing your jersey, number 4, orange still. And she said, "Is that Max?" Or one of them said, "Is that Max?" And I go, "Yeah. How do you know Max?" And they said, "Well, we were at a bar and we met Max." And I said, "Not my Max. My Max does not go to bars."
Rare occasions, I'll, dabble at, meet friends. This was, I believe, in the off season. And I do remember meeting these people. Yeah. I cut the line to grab a beer, and it's nice to strike up a conversation with people who you're cutting the line with. And full circle, I don't know if you were cutting the line, but you were in line with them. Yep. And it's crazy. It's a small world, but it's a funny story, because I was running out to warm up for the second half, and some people, I catch eye contact with them, and they're like, "Hey, are you Max?" And I'm like, yeah. And they said, "We talked to your dad in line to get into the game." And I said, "That's awesome."
No,
what a guy.
It just kind of brought home how fun the experience is, because here's 15 people.
It's a family function.
Really having fun. They were there for the soccer. They were there for the socializing. They were having a great time. And they knew one player, the guy they met in the bar. Of course, they said it was a juice bar. So, I was a little skeptical about that.
Yeah, obviously, great environment. Disappointing not to get a result, but I'm very confident in this group. As our coach likes to say, we are very confident and have a clear north. And I like where our north is, and I like where we're going. Although the results haven't been there, I think the performances have at moments, and sooner or later that's going to result in wins and points. So I'm confident in that. But in other news, we have an amazing episode coming, episode 23 with Eryk Williamson. This is a guy who is a close friend of mine. I met him in Portland playing for the Timbers, and we talk all about his career. We talk about some funny stories from playing together. And this is actually a really unique episode with the timing of it. Do you want to talk a little bit about the timing, or I can get into that?
Well, you talk about it.
Okay. So in our episode, we talk about how Eryk rose from coming down and playing with me on Timbers 2 to becoming a mainstay in the first team, being a regular, being a starter, winning the MLS's back tournament with the first team. And then he signs a new contract extension. He gets an opportunity with the U.S. men's national team in the Gold Cup. He actually starts the Gold Cup final, wins the Gold Cup with the U.S. men's national team, which we talk about at length in the episode. And then as he's on top of the world, he tears his ACL really brutally with the timing of how his career was going. And he's been rehabbing for the last, 8 or 9 months. I need to do my math there. But today, as a few hours ago, as we're recording this, Eryk made his return to the first team with the Timbers back in MLS. And that is just so exciting to see, to watch as a friend, as a fan, as someone who we care about him and his career, to see him back on the field after where he was. And now just in a short time later, he's back and on that same trajectory, as we talk about, hoping to make a run for the World Cup.
Right. There's never a good time for an athlete to suffer a season-ending injury, right? An ACL tear for a soccer player. There's never a good time.
Never.
But his timing was really as bad as you can get, because, like you said, drafted by the MLS, Portland Timbers, put down.
He was traded. He signed homegrown with DC United, and was then traded to the Timbers.
Right.
And, he was sent down to T2. He was sent on loan to a club in Portugal for a little bit, and then finally was able to break into the first team and become a mainstay before this unfortunate injury.
Right. Fights his way onto the first team, Portland, fights his way onto the men's national team.
Yeah.
Has having lots of success with the men's national team. Just his trajectory is just shooting way up.
Yeah.
Tears his ACL. And abruptly everything stops.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we talk at length about what this recovery process has been like. This has been his first major injury really in his career. And so we talk about the mental side of going through an injury like that, the physical difficulties of it, the timing of it. And we talk about how he is more motivated than ever to still set goals for the World Cup. And we talk about how we have no doubt that with his work ethic, with the kind of guy he is, he will return to where he was and even surpass where he was. Eryk is someone who we know has a really bright future ahead of him.
He's got what you call the right stuff, right? When you think about, test pilots, the right stuff, which is just that makeup, both physical and makeup and mental, that he is going to have a high level of success. So when you listen to today's episode, when you listen to our podcast of Eryk Williamson, remember, he took the field today for the Portland Timbers.
Yeah, it is very cool timing. This is probably our best timed podcast. This is an episode where we talk about the comeback, and literally the comeback was today for us, yesterday, if you're listening to this on the day that it drops. But it is very cool to hear the inside of Eryk's mindset and his head as he went through this process. And now, boom, he's back, and we get to follow him as he makes his comeback complete, and, see what's next for him as he chases a spot, an opportunity to be in the running for the World Cup this winter, which is really crazy. It's exciting, and he's got us in his corner. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I have a personal affinity for Eryk, only because I was there when he was with Timbers too. I was watching him when he first took the field, right? I saw the beginning of his pro career when he was playing alongside you guys, and I saw him play lots of times and was always impressed with his game, and not surprised he reached the heights. It's fun for me to hear you and Eryk talk about because you were on the field together, right?
Yeah.
I was looking through my photographs the other day, right?
Yeah. If you've seen my dad's Instagram,
that's right.
He's done some good promos. So you've gotten better at that.
Thank you.
No, it is very cool because whenever Eryk would come down and play with us, it was nice as his teammate because, you know, he's a hell of a player. So to have that kind of player come down and play with you was always great. And it's no surprise to see his accomplishments throughout the past 2 years, because when he'd come down, it's like, this guy's the real deal. It's just a matter of time before he gets his opportunity. And so, you know, thankfully he did, and he made the most of it. And so it'll be really fun to watch this comeback and watch him return to where he was prior to this injury. Today's also a special day. It is my sister, your daughter, Madison Ornstill's 31st birthday. Actually, maybe we'll cut out the
her 30 her 30 fun birthday.
Yeah, that,
as she puts it.
I don't know if the tense works with that, but she turns 30 fun.
30 fun.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
But special shout out to Madison. She was the season finale for season 1. She's my best friend, your daughter, the woman who makes the Ornstill family work.
Yep.
We love her. And today's also, actually not today, but every episode, Marathon Minute, is brought to you by
Cafe Fanny,
the
organic
best
granola.
The best granola in the game. Nothing has changed. We're still fueled by it. If you aren't fueled by it, what are you doing? Get on it. And
we're talking soy free. We're talking GMO free.
We're talking soy free. We're talking GMO free. We're talking organic. We're talking chia seeds. We're talking fiber. Everything that you need in a granola, they've got.
100% healthy, 100% hearty,
100% healthy, 100% hearty,
organic.
Let's I think that's been enough of us. Let's get to our guest, the one and only Eryk Williamson, as he comes back from an unbelievable return. This is a great return, and we're excited to see him, you know, get back to greatness.
A great guest. You'll enjoy Eryk, and keep in mind, you know, his struggle. He fought the battle and won. I think he's back on the field.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Episode 23, Marathon Minute with Eryk Williamson, coming at you now.
Let's go. Marathon Minute.
Bro, what's up?
Nothing, man. Just, you know, getting home at 4 o'clock on a Sunday.
Damn, you just got back?
Like, probably not even 5 minutes ago. It's like double session. We got like
the dedication.
Yeah, it's been a long 5 months. So
yeah, I bet. But it looks like it's getting to that like kind of fun time when you're like, you get time on the field, like that time you get like look forward to playing with the ball is like
bro,
so fun.
It's like a kid in a candy store. Like the first 3 days I was outside, I was just like running around, and like all the guys like, yo, like relax a little.
Chill.
You're not there yet. So
like a rookie.
Damn.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
cold there in Portland. I just got back. I was there until
you guys just missed each other.
I just was there like 3 days ago. It was cold. It was gray. It was not, I know the weather's cleared up since I left.
Yeah, it's really foggy in the morning, but it's after that it turned into a nice day. Today the sun's actually out, so
rare.
But Tucson wasn't much better. Tucson was freezing cold. So
really?
Yeah, we couldn't have double sessions because it was getting too cold at night where guys didn't want to train.
What?
Yeah, so
that's actually wild.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be that bad, but
desert climates can be weird like that. The temperature swings are really wide.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, once the sun goes down, it got cold, but other than that, it was beautiful during the day.
Yeah.
You're a tough guy from Maryland. You could handle the cold.
Yeah,
right?
no, I was fine.
Don't hype him up.
He's not a tough guy?
No, we'll see.
You know, we all can't go to Santa Clara and have nice. So.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I went to University of Miami, so I'm no better. But I grew up in New York, so I know weather.
Oh yeah, that's the one. New York will do it to you. That'll scar you from any winter right there.
It will. Yeah, exactly.
You've gotten soft in California.
Totally soft.
Super soft. All All right. Well, bro, this is a treat for us. This definitely, I feel like I wanted to have you on season 1, but I just knew there was more coming. So I didn't want to interview you and then like shit, you keep balling out, you keep doing your thing, and then it's like I'm old news, you know? So it's like now this kind of sets us up for the comeback. And then, you know, we like to say this is, once you're on the show, I mean, you were family before, obviously you're my guy, but you're part of the Marathon Minute family. So that means you could be coming back more than just once. We had someone on for the second time recently. So it's like, now we could be checking in with you now, you know?
Yeah.
So like we get the comeback and then we get the check-ins like, oh damn, like comeback. Ooh, like really nice. So, you know, and also bro, this is just like an excuse to catch up. Like it's been a minute.
What, 3 years? It feels like 3 years now, no?
Bro, it's been a minute. I mean, wait, 3 years? I only played 1 year. I just played 1 year with the Roots. That was last year. So it's been a year and a half. It's probably been a year and a half.
A couple of those years were COVID years, right? So
it feels, well, yeah, that 1 year was 2020 was weird because like y'all were we were hella separate. So like,
yeah,
we like linked up in the park once. Like I rode my bike over there, you know, like hanging out was different. That was a whole different world. We were in a different world.
So that at least gives us 2.5 years. So
honestly, our time, time was different. So it feels like 3 years, but it's been a minute. So yeah, bro, this is gonna be cool to just chop it up. This is, you know, I just saw you know, in our research, we like to do our research here for our guests. And I was watching the interview you did with Jake Zivin.
Yeah.
And, you know, solid interview, good interview. You're a good interview. But, you know, I think we can dig deeper. We can get a little more out of you, you know, just because it's the Timbers media, you know, very buttoned up answers, hella professional, like you're on your shit. But like here, you could let loose, you know, feel free to have a good time. You could cuss
Are we PG-13 or are we rated R?
We're rated R. I mean, not like in a weird way, but like, you know, just like we're all about truth and honesty, being vulnerability. Real. Yeah, we're about real shit, you know.
Yeah.
So we've talked about some real shit. You know, we had Rodney Wallace on, that got hella real, you know, talking about his life. And I mean, we've had Quincy was wild. Eryk Wheeler was wild. We've had some dope people on. Obviously,
Quincy will keep it real with you.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't beat around the bush right there.
Yeah, he is intense.
It was great.
Obama was a little buttoned up.
Yeah, he, you know, with good reason, because it's, you know, former president.
He's not president anymore, so you know, he just kind of.
Yeah, he loosened up at the end.
Yeah. we tend to have that ability, you know.
Right.
The rapport does that. Okay, let's give a little context for our listeners. You know, you are, as we, you know, alluded to a little bit with the excitement over the little things with getting out onto the field again, you're recovering from an injury that's proven to be not as damaging as it has been in the past, which is great timing for you. Just to give the listener a little bit of context, where are you right now with your injury recovery, your rehab? I see some training photos where you're on the field, you're wearing some sort of headband. Not sure. I might need to get a little bit of info on what's going on with this trend. But where are you at within this process? And then we could get into a little bit of what it's been like for you, and kind of we'll go through this whole crazy timeline. Where are you at in your rehab process right now?
Yeah, so I think I'm 21 weeks or something like that. And it's
how many months is that? That's math.
Well, you tore your ACL August of 2021, right? Last year.
Got surgery early September. But medically, they like every 4 weeks is a month. So technically, I would be 5 months. But take away some months, days. I'm trying to break records of 5 months, and they're like, "No, you already hit 5 months." So
shit.
5 months of of rehab, but back on the field now, doing technical, doing warm-ups, doing all that, but anything with tackling, I haven't been doing.
Yeah.
And then it's a double day every day of the training in the morning. I'll do stuff on the side with Nick and Chuck, and then head inside and do a lift, whether it's upper body, lower body. But tell you what, it's the strongest I've ever felt. So,
bro, I swear,
do shirts and stuff, and it's like, you know, now it's finally like a beach body I can actually be proud of.
Oh my goodness.
Were you much of a weight guy before this rehab? I mean, were you a weight room guy or not?
Yeah, but like nothing crazy. Like,
don't
like
lie.
Not consistent.
Don't lie.
I mean, you know, I throw some weight around here and there, but you know, nothing crazy. Now I'm doing all these elaborate ass workouts where I'm like, yo, this shit is hard. Like, and it's what they made the program about. And I'm like, listen, Chuck, like I'm getting way too goddamn big. Like we need to like relax a little. He's like, no, like you're looking strong. And like Gio every day comes in, it's like, Eryk, you're, you know, gives me a little. But I'm like, no, Gio, I don't need to hear that. I don't need to hear that.
No, I remember that because I had surgery back in 2017 or something. And like the way they kind of, I mean, I don't think it's just a Timber thing. Maybe it is, but like they're so like hands-on with how much they educate you about what's going on. You damn near feel like you're training yourself in a way. You're like doing all these crazy exercises. And then like you start to like pick up the lingo. You're saying like weird terms that nobody knows what you're talking about. And like, it's kind of dope. You feel like you're your own like personal trainer. But I feel you. I got up to a point where when I came back, I was like way bigger than I was supposed to be, which I think
starting to lose it.
What happened?
Yeah. There was a day where like, yo, Max, you need to stop lifting, bro. You're looking big, but no.
Oh, that's honestly, that's just because I wasn't playing very much. I was just trying to take it out in the gym. Just trying to get a beach spot, you know?
And like those are the little things that like you can kind of like get excited for. It's like, all right, well, shit, I'm not training. I'm just gonna go in the gym and do, you know, 40 extra pull-ups or something. And it's
facts.
And then you're leaving feeling yourself. You're like, all right, you know, now I'm just go lay on the couch for the next 5 hours.
Yeah. Okay. So you're starting to get into some of the fun stuff. You're a bodybuilder now, so that's great. But like a little bit into like some real shit. Like I admit, like I've been fortunate. I've only had one surgery in my life, and it was way more difficult than I ever anticipated it. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, quick surgery, you know, go through the rehab, get back on the field, back to normal. But I like for sure, it was winter in Portland. I know you've been able to travel a little bit with the timing, so that's been nice. But like I went through a bit of a depression. I was like, damn, like all my teammates are traveling. It's shitty in Portland. I can't play. I was just like going through it mentally. What has this been like? What has the process been like for you mentally? Like, have you had any down days or like, I mean, I know obviously the timing of it fucking sucked. So like, how has it been for you mentally?
No, I think that first like month, I was like, I wouldn't say month, like first few days, it was like, shit, man, like all the things I've been working for was right here and boom, I get hurt. Guys got hurt on the national team. Guys got sent home from the national team. And I was like, well, this is my chance. And then boom, injury happens. And like, it's obviously something you can't plan for, but like the first like week, I was like, I wasn't going through it, but I was like, I started to realize things I wouldn't do regularly. It's like, all right, well, maybe I go bowling, and next, you know, I'm 3 margaritas deep, and I'm like, why am I doing this? And you start to like notice those little things, those little trends. A part of it was like, I mean, people came and went during the process, and that's kind of an eye opener too. I think you lean on people in these moments, and you know, you really some true colors afterwards. And it's, I mean, my mom's been there a lot of the way, you know, asking 1,000 questions. And it's like, you start to notice like little things started to, you know, irritate, where it's, you know, you come home and you didn't clean up the kitchen. You're like, well, shit, man, like I gotta go do this shit. And it's like little things like that I started to get like, you know, irritated about. But you know, talking to the trainers, talking to, you know, some sports sites people, I was like, listen, like this is some shit I need to figure out. But I've learned a lot about myself. Like I realized what I need, what I don't need. And a big part of the process was, you know, I bought a house in Portland. So it's like being able to just have my own space of, you know, whether it's going playing video games or, you know, doing stuff in the backyard. Like I remember when you were here, you know, you were always growing shit. I'm like, damn, you know,
sir.
I'm in an apartment and I'm over here. I'm trying to grow some tomatoes and I'm trying to, you know, I get 2 hours of sun in the little window in an apartment downtown. So
please don't mention all the stuff that Max is growing in his backyard in Portland, Eryk. Okay, because
oh my god,
I'm not sure the statute of limitations is run yet on that.
Oh my goodness.
No, I thought about it too, but it's a process. It's a process to try and get all that going. So
yeah. Well, first of all, I think I texted you when you first got your crib, but for the audience, congratulations, because that's a big accomplishment at your age, and to get a crib that you got, like that's some grown man shit. So that's dope.
Exciting times. But
yeah, I'm hyped about. I'm gonna need to check it out next time I'm in Portland. I know we missed each other last time.
I didn't. I know you're 24, right, Eryk? 24 years old.
24.
Yeah, I did not have a house at age 24, so that's a great accomplishment. Good for you.
No, I wanna get back to a little bit of kind of going through this time. I feel like it's in a lot. You were talking about kind of getting frustrated about like little things like dishes and shit. And it's because it's kind of like soccer, although it's a profession. There's in a lot of ways it's like an escape from everything else. Like it's your chance to kind of like release, focus on something else. But like when that's taken away, like you really do get to. I mean, you said you've grown a lot through this, and I have a feeling why, is because it's that one thing that you kind of is a crutch taken away. Like that's always going to be there for you when you're healthy. You have structure, you have schedule, you have an outlet. Once that's taken away, it's like, well, what am I? I went through a little bit of like an identity thing of like, well, what am I if I'm not playing? It's like, shit, I don't know, you know? So like, I definitely feel you on the, like, you either go through it or you grow, or you do both, you know? So I think as much as it's like a shitty time, obviously, like physically, I think mentally it can make you a lot stronger, which I feel like I'm sure is happening for you right now. And then when you come back, like you have that much more of an appreciation for it, you know, like every day you might just appreciate a warm up or a technical drill or a small sided. Whereas before you might be thinking like, oh, I need to be like super crisp during this, or you put like added pressure on the performance versus just like the gratitude of the littlest things, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I mentioned a little bit in before, but it's like I was taking like games for granted. Like I was like, man, shit, you know, we're in Austin. Fuck, we got another game to play. And it's like, yeah, those little moments, like you start to realize like, wow, you really can't take them for granted. And it's like, you know, we're playing Wednesday, Sunday, and I'm like, man, you know, I don't even want to play today. But it's like you want to go out and you have to play kind of ordeal. Yeah. And now here we are 5 months, you know, we go to MLS Cup and I'm like, I'm itching to be out there. Like I'm not even, you know, doing technical, or I'm not in the team huddles or for any of it. And it's like you just learned a lot. And like you said, like, it's kind of like that's where you just kind of feel like the freest is when you go to train and, you know, seeing guys play 5v5 or 3v3s. And it's like, man, shit, I want to be out there. So it's, you know, watching those and just knowing that like this process, I've learned a lot about not only playing, but like the profession is something, you know, we can't take for granted.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was your first major injury, as I read, which is a good thing. I'm sorry you got hurt, but I'm glad it was your first. But I think you made a great point, and I saw it in another interview I saw of you where
research.
Research. I know a lot about you, Eryk. Anyhow, I digress. But no, when you haven't been hurt, and when you've been an athlete but when you've been an athlete, you kind of take for granted the ability to lace up your boots and go on a soccer field and play basically as long and hard as you want, and without really, you know, the only restriction is, you know, how long I can go. You don't really have that perspective of, you know, not how lucky you are, but, you know, how it's a gift to be able to do whatever you want to do. I'll give you my own stupid little story about perspective.
It's not stupid.
Wait till you hear it.
It's not stupid.
Well, About 10 years ago, maybe 15, I was playing in a co-ed indoor soccer league. I don't know what the hell I was doing in that, but I tore my Achilles, and that was my first bad injury of my life. And I was in a boot and on crutches for too much time. And I had taken for granted simple stuff like going up and down stairs, just the ability to take out the garbage and wheel the barrels to the curb. And so even now, 10 years after the fact, when I take out the garbage, I still look back and say, you know what, I don't mind taking out the garbage because I can take out the garbage pain-free. And it gave me a little bit of better perspective on taking out the garbage or doing anything silly like that. So it must be an eye-opener for you to kind of go through that experience. Well, you're going through it still, and appreciation for what it takes to be a professional soccer player even.
Yeah, I mean, just going up and down the stairs, like the first time I could like walk without the handles or like put weight on my left leg, it was like shit. It's you take little things like that for granted. Like I couldn't run up the stairs if I needed to get something. It's taken me a minute to get upstairs, and that's like spot on. I was right away, I think 5 days after surgery, I was like off crutches and able to like halfway walk. So like that was a good thing. But like even those 5 days, you almost feel useless. Like you're like, well, I can't move. My mom had to do everything, and I was trying to figure out like damn, like how am I going to get through this? Like this. I mean, it was probably the lowest part of my career that you sit on the couch for 3 days with not able to do anything. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think the age that this is happening to you, like, I'm not trying to like preach or anything, but just like from this conversation about like injuries, like you're young enough to where you could still bounce back and be like a better version of yourself, because like modern technology, fucking like the stuff that you're doing, I'm sure is like was for sure not around when he did his Achilles, and it's probably is different than when I even did my foot like 4 years ago. Like this shit is so advanced now. Like Seba coming back when he did, like
I mean, seeing my scar and my surgery alone compared to Carlos or Seba or Valerian, their scars going down their knee, mine's it's barely leaving my kneecap. It's things like that, like technology it's definitely changed, and it's good to know. I mean, these guys do research every day of what can benefit my knee the best, and a part of it's double days instead of one long session. It's 2 sessions, and they're learning little things like that. So
so I think physically you're at an age where it's like boom, ain't no thing, you'll be back, and then mentally it's like it fucking sucks, but like you're old enough to like appreciate the process, which I think if that happens younger, like you might be a younger body, but like your mind might not have the same type of growth throughout the experience. So the injury is what it is, but I think you're killing it in your rehab process. We're obviously going to be following you and checking in at some point about the comeback, but I want to take it back a little bit, take it back to when we first met each other. Give our listeners a little bit of context. They're like, how do y'all even know each other? Like you might've been in Portland in the same time, but so 2018, was that when you first signed with the Timbers?
Yeah.
Was that 2018? So in 2018, you signed with the Timbers from a trade, signing a homegrown deal with DC, and then they trade you for a whole bunch of things. That's just like, damn, assets going for Eryk, like, woo, must be nice. So I remember you showed up, I'm like, damn, this dude just came out of college for hella assets, like must be nice. And they send you and you play a lot of games with T2. And that was dope for me, obviously, because we got to kick it, got to become homies. You were nice. So like, obviously nice to have you on the squad. But like, what was that period like when you left school early? And you got, like I said, you got traded for assets. So it's like, you're coming in not as just like some draft pick. Like you came in as someone that the Timbers wanted, and then you get sent down. You're playing with me, playing with T2, which is like, fun, but you're like, yo, I'm assuming you probably want to be playing for the first team. What was kind of going through your head during that time? were you still excited about just playing professionally, or were you kind of getting a little bit discouraged? Because you were balling out, you're doing your thing. What was kind of going through your head during that time?
Definitely a little everything. Like a part of me was, I was frustrated that like I wouldn't train with the first team. And my biggest thing is, I came out of college early to step into a first team environment. DC United essentially was like, oh, well, we can use you, but we don't really need you. In Portland's like, well, we want them. So coming in, it was eye-opening, and it felt like I was welcome in Portland, like right away. I met Gavin the first time, and, it's one of those where I'm like, hey, I'm Eryk. He's like, bro, I know who you are. You don't have to, like, I'm the GM. And like, granted, I'd never met him. So it's like eye-opening, exciting times. And then playing with T2, it was like, well, hey, you need to get professional games in your belt. And I'm like, well, yeah, let's do it. So like I play a couple games, and it's like, all right, well, this is fun. Like, let me get a run with the big boys essentially. And it was like, I made the bench here and there, and I was like, oh, like this is exciting. And, I just felt like I was so close to the first team in 2018. And then it was kind of like, all right, well, you're just going to go play with T2. You're going to train with T2. And that made soccer fun again. It's one of those, like, if you're not training and you just kind of like off to the side, like now it's where it's like, all right, well, being in training, being around guys that are fun, it's unbelievable. And then we had such a fun group of T2 that it's like, all right, well, not only are these guys cool, like we were actually good too. So it's like the mesh of the both was like, all right, well, let's go. Like we go on a trip, and like, you can just see everyone so excited at each other. And it's like, like now I know, or we had people in the past who just kind of went down, and they're kind of like, I don't want to be here. Like for us, they're like,
no, I've experienced, I've seen that before.
I'm like, yo, this shit is fun. Like this is the shit I would I want to do. And like, obviously it's tough because you want to, play with the first team, but I learned a lot as a pro, like, finishing pro games as a, when I came in, I was 20. So it's like, trying to, play against guys who are 32 and in around 30, like in their prime was about to learn too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, being someone I described to, I had Aaron Malloy on, and I described to him, I was the T2 grandpa. Like I had been there for like 4 years.
Bro,
so
I'll tell you what, like talk about us meeting. It was all I saw you doing was lifting. I was like, yo, like, I was like, yo, who is this guy? And like, I'm like every day, like Jibbo was like, oh, that's not, like, he plays 6 for T2, he plays center back. And I'm like, what's wrong with him? Like, you look perfectly healthy. So I'm like, what's wrong with him? He's like, oh, he just had surgery on his foot. And I was like, makes sense. So then like, once you came back, it's like, all right, like this is even more fun. Like, I don't know. But it was you and Mo in the back, and it was.
Yeah, we had a gang.
We
had Foster. We had Foster up top. We had Marvin on the wing. Aspria was playing hella games with us. Jabo was playing hella games, bro. Yeah. Bill would come down and play sometimes. Like Roy was playing a ton. We had a squad.
I went to a lot of T2 games because my philosophy is, athletic careers, pro sports careers are indefinite, are not indefinite, right?
What, there's see me while you can.
Well, no, you just don't know. You don't know how they're gonna. There's a lot of variables, right? Like an injury. So I've always said, I'm going to go to as many of Max's matches as I can. So I've seen you play a ton because you and Max run the same field a lot, and I have a very very clear impression of your style of play. And I always like when you're on the field because as Max was a center back or holding mid, it's nice to have that great center mid in front of them who's going to control the game. It really does. It takes some of the pressure off the back line. And you were always so calm with them. My impression, Eryk, was, boy, this guy is so calm on the ball. He just never, doesn't matter. He could be surrounded by 3 guys, front, back, left, right. He just doesn't panic. It's just so calm. And what I really admire about following you, I've been following your career, right? Because you played with my kid, and at every level, at the Timbers on the first team, you play the same way, calm. It is on the national team. It's the same way. You have not changed at all, which is very cool for for me to see, because I think I saw, you know, kind of the beginning, but I figured, okay, he's going to tighten up a bit. He's going to get more conservative. He's going to pass the ball, you know, quicker. And no, which is a good thing.
Still holding on to the ball.
He really holds on to the ball too long.
Okay.
No, I love your game. I really do. I think it's fantastic.
Wait, I actually had a question I wrote down. I didn't know if I was going to get to it or not, but like my dad kind of brought up your style, you know, very smooth, nonchalant, like calm under pressure. Has any like coach or like teammate or someone been like questioned, like if you like give a fuck, like while you're playing? It's like, I mean, obviously I've seen some like you get very fired up and like throw in some like nasty tackles or something, but like for the most part, you're very smooth, you know, you're not getting upset or like, it doesn't look like you're breaking a sweat, which is like, it's dope, but I could see it being taken the wrong way by someone. Has that ever happened? Or is it just like, damn, he's smooth, you know, just smooth Eryk.
I think that was the biggest thing of me not playing the first, you know, 2 years is I think, you know, Gio did his research on me as well as a player. And, you know, I also have a kind of like long stride. So it looks like I'm just kind of like galloping out there. And it's like, exactly. And like, it's many coaches have said like, hey, Eryk, like you just need to show like a little more bite. And it's like, even times like I go with the national team and like they'll bring in new assistants like, Eryk, like you need to be hungry. You need to be more intense. And I'm like, yo, I'm running as hard as I can. Like, what do you, but like, that's my like demeanor isn't like, you know, rah. It's seen as, you know, too casual. And you know, I'm like, it feels like, you know, I'm really intense. I'm really locked into a moment. And then I'll go and watch a game back and I'm like, shit, I look like I don't give a single fuck right here. Not a single in the world. Yeah. But it's like in the moment I'm thinking like, shit, you know, I need to get this pass off, or, you know, I need to, you know, tackle hard here. And it's been a, you know, bittersweet thing that, you know, I'm able to play that way. And I think it's, you know, looking back or looking at it, it's good to have in my locker. But there's definitely been times where like I get frustrated. I'm thinking like, shit, you know, like I really need to like make it seem like I'm really working hard. So sometimes like run as hard as I can at someone and be like, like, let's go. And, like I get excited for games, but it's not like the excited where I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go flying into a tackle or, you know, do something like obviously there's a little bite to it. And I think that's what I've learned or developed in my game. But for the most part, it's always been, you know, I see the ball as like having it. It's like if I do this stuff every day, I'll be able to, you know, do this.
You should be. Yeah. So. No, it's a good confidence to have. And I think if I only say like, ask the question because that's if someone just watches you for the first time or sees you for a small moment, but like, if you spend enough time watching you know, you have the grit, you have the bite.
I think actually, when I think about it, I think you're a little bit like that. And you know, you play different positions, but you're kind of one of these calm players. You don't hold the ball as long as Eryk does.
I wish I would like to hold it as long as.
Well, no, I mean,
it would get stripped if I did.
No, I think the first 3 times I saw Max practice, I'm like, oh, this guy's just going through the motions, and it's like. It kind of reminded me of myself where it's like, well, I know he's trying. I know he's working hard. It's just a matter of the way our like body types and the way we play. It just seems like it's really nonchalant and casual. So
yeah, if you act calm, you're gonna play calm. You know.
Exactly. Like you don't need to be balls to the wall all the time.
Exactly. So. There's a time to play. We know. We get it. We get it.
You just got to.
If you know, you know. Okay. So we've established, you know, you actually are trying, although sometimes it may not appear that way. Listeners, he is trying. It's just that easy. It's that easy. Not actually. But let's talk a little about, so you spent some time with T2 and then 2020 was kind of, I guess people can state that as your like breakout year, you know, play a ton in the MLS's back tournament. I think you get like, you're on that team of the tournament. I'm pretty sure you were balling, doing your thing. What did something change between 2019 and 2020? Or was it simply like you finally got an opportunity, like you finally got a real shot and then you just kind of ran with it? or was there any sort of mentality shift?
I think it was a little of both. So when I went to Portugal in 2018, I really learned what it meant to be a pro. Like, these guys are in Portugal, like drinking beer at 11 a.m., like smoking cigarettes as a part of their culture, you know? And I'm like, shit, well, they can do this as a pro. And it's like, boom, they go in the field, balls to the wall, like work harder than I've like ever seen. I'm like, well, it is about what you're doing off the field, but everyone has their own routine. So like, I had to get into my routine. So when I came back in 2019, it was the first year I kind of played, you know, I was getting minutes here and there, and I like knew, I was like, all right, well, I'm that close. Like, I just kind of need to take that next step. And going into 2020, it was like a really, really good preseason. Like, I think it was the first time I had a break as a pro. You know, I went on vacation, I went to see family, and it was boom, back to Portland, back to work. And like, that's when I knew, I was like, all right, well, if I put in the work here, it's going to come easy in the game. And then boom, COVID hits. And I think we played our first game against Nashville. The next game, Miles came up to me, was like, hey, you were supposed to start at the 10 this weekend, but
I think I remember this.
The game got canceled. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, there was my chance, you know. I was like, you know, first week of COVID, I'm like, well, fuck, you know, I just need to stay ready. And we had no answers.
Yeah. So they didn't know when that would be.
Exactly. So the quarantine hits, and I'm like, well, I was there, you know, like, I don't want to lose that. So then, like, starting the individual workouts, like, all right, it's right back to work. You know, it's balls to the walls. If I get tired, I'm gonna make sure that I'm in a good spot when we come back. And then go to the bubble. And I think it was, you know, the work I did in preseason and then the quarantine, it was kind of like meshed together of, all right, well, again, taking playing soccer for granted. It was like, all right, well, here's our chance to play again. Went to the bubble, and, you know, I was worried that the chance wasn't going to come, but I was ready for the chance. And then, you know, to start the tournament was like, all right, Eryk, like, here's your chance. You worked hard for it. And, you know, I just kind of took it and ran. It was one of those. I was like, I know this is the moment I have, and it doesn't come often. So let me make sure that, you know, I set an impression. I didn't think I think I lasted like 82 minutes. I told Spencer, I was like, bro, I have maybe 60 minutes in me. Like, let's fucking hope I don't die. And, you know, I'm coming off, like, I had a calf cramp, and he's like, Eryk, what happened in 60 minutes? And, like, you know, Gavin's there. I'm like, Spencer, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, I'm trying. We need to lay low here. So it was, I think that was like the biggest moment. That's when I kind of knew. I was like, well, you know, I did well, but, you know, it's not the end there. So.
Yeah. Did you have like a game or a moment where, like, obviously the Timbers won the tournament. You guys won that tournament.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, we can talk a little bit about what that feeling was like, but did you have a feeling at any point during that time of like, okay, like, oh, I belong, like, I'm here, versus like, oh, I'm still kind of like trying to make the most of this opportunity, versus like, oh, I made the most of it, like, this is mine now, like, I'm here to stay, you know? Did you have a moment like that? Or was that maybe when you won the ship and we're like, yeah, I just won a ship and I started throughout this whole thing, I got team of the tournament, like, yeah, motherfuckers, like, I'm here.
It was the second game against Houston. It was kind of like everyone was tired, and I was like, oh, shit, you know, like, I need to go, like, I need to make sure I have another performance. And it was another good one. I think it was my first assist, and it was, you know, I started it, you know, Gio came up to me and, you know, was like, hey, like, I thought you did really well. First assist, you know, was getting a little bit of like media attention behind it. And I was like, well, you know, maybe I did better than I thought. And then it's, you know, you rewatch the games, you see it all, and you're like, all right, well, I did well. And then LAFC, we changed lineups, and I was like, well, shit, there goes my chance. Like, I didn't play as well as I thought.
Yeah.
And but it was just kind of like a rotation game because we had already made it out the group. And then that Cincinnati game was another one where I was like, shit, like, I need to put on a performance. And like, starting every game, I was like, all right, well, you know, maybe I am a piece that, you know, we're not going to change for a little while.
Yeah.
And like, I knew as one, I was like, I need to make sure I'm performing well every game. Went to the final, and I think my final was good, but it wasn't, you know, my best game. And right when we came out the bubble, I realized, like, well shit, like, we need to keep it going. And that, I think it was right after the bubble when I was still like, you know, starting a game against Seattle and Seattle, a rivalry game, was like, well,
Yeah.
no, I've kind of taken that step as a true starter instead of kind of a role player. So it was, that was when, you know, things really opened my eye of being a regular with the team.
Yeah. And then, I mean, shit, you scored against Seattle pretty soon after that.
First goal. I still have, I have the picture framed. I have the ball still right here. And it's one of those that, like, that's when I kind of realized, well, like, shit, you know, I can actually play at this level. Like, I think it was, you know, still to this day, my best goal I scored. And I was like, damn, like that was a good ass goal. And then
it was.
Granted, like 7 went down. There's one of those. I'm like, well, shit, if he's not getting, like, someone has to do it.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized, like, all right, well, maybe I can take another step as, you know, maybe a little bit of a playmaker, a little bit of, you know, putting some weight on my shoulders.
Yeah.
To digress a little bit, but do you remember the goal you scored for T2? I had this memory, Eryk, of you like taking the ball from like midfield or even maybe behind midfield
against Austin. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The ball. I mean, it was like a 60-yard run with the ball, and you just kept going. Like,
yeah, that was.
You figure he's going to pass it at some point and lay it off. You just kept going. You kept going, and you're shooting from like 10 yards out. Boom.
I think I actually got in trouble for that goal because Cam and Gregor were like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why are you randomly doing this now? Like, you could have done this shit the whole time. I'm like,
oh my God. Man.
I was frustrated. I think we were down 2-0 at the time, and I was like,
yeah, you're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and see what I can do. And like, that was a good goal too. Like, looking back, I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, it was just like a random spurt of like, yo, I need to get this shit done.
Yeah, well, I can see why your coaches may have been upset with you because watching that game from the stands, it looked to me like you said to yourself, okay, I'm pissed. I'm going to go score a goal.
Yeah.
And like, if you can.
So you do that in under 12s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, it looked like you could score when you wanted to.
Yeah.
No, like I still to this day, I don't know where that came from. I think I was pissed at something, a call or whatever. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, there's nothing to lose. We're already losing. So
yeah. It worked.
Yeah.
Well, going back to like your kind of mindset throughout that progression, I think you said it perfectly, or you kind of acted it perfectly in that you didn't really think too far ahead. You didn't think like, oh, like I need to play well this season, or like I need to kill these stretch of games. It's like like if I'm starting today, like I need to make the most of this game. And then like, boom, the next game will come and you do the same thing and just build on those performances. And then I think kind of what you said about like when you scored against Seattle and we're like, oh, like I can do this. I feel like there's times when you're playing in like T2 or like, I don't know, maybe at times in your youth where like you think because like it seems like this level is like so far away, it seems out of reach, when like in reality, you're so close. It's just like, you're not on the field to be given that opportunity, like I'm sure like the stuff that you're doing at T2, like ability wise, that's the same shit that people are doing on the first team. It's just, it happens to be in a bigger stadium with different camera angles and more people there, but it's the same shit you're doing. So sometimes it just takes for you to do it on the big stage to be like a reminder to yourself of like, oh, like I do this, just nobody was seeing it before. Now, like people are seeing it and like you get that recognition. And it's like, I think you've done a great job of now that people have been seeing what you've been doing the past 5 years, but now people are just seeing it. More people are seeing it. You're not changing the game. You're just like, no, I'm going to continue doing what I'm going to do. And it's just, the more people see it, the better. So I think the way you've approached that is spot on. And there's no surprise why you haven't like slipped or like gotten too ahead of yourself, because you're focused on that each day, each game at a time. And that's the way to do it, I feel like.
Yeah. And that's where I've been. And a part of me even got a tattoo in 2019 that, it was Heath Ledger's a Joker. And, he passed away as, trying to be someone who's not. And I think, it's just a reminder to stay true to myself and true to my game, honestly, is, don't try and change the way I play or who I am as a person for a different role, essentially. And I think that's, something I've always stayed true with. And it's just kind of been just a simple reminder in my life. So
yeah.
What's it like playing so far from home? You're an East Coast guy, right? You grew up in Maryland, went to college school at Maryland, where what, Kingbo went there? Who else did we
say? Kingbo?
Yeah,
King Jabo.
Yeah, Jabo.
No, Jabo went to Duke, but he's from.
He was a Dookie.
Yeah.
Okay, a rival.
Oh
yeah.
Well, someone went to Maryland because they said it was like being on a professional.
Rodney.
Yeah, Rodney. Yeah.
Rodney
right. So you're on the West Coast. What's it? Have you adopted the West Coast lifestyle?
Oh, 100%. Now I'm actually claiming the West Coast now. So
oh my God.
I didn't even go back to the East Coast this year. So that's how I'm really addicted to the West Coast. So it's one that, similar to Maryland. Maryland had a good fan base. And then coming to Portland, it's just kind of the next step up. So it's, playing in front of a crowd like the Timbers Army was similar to the crew at Maryland. But just kind of the lifestyle, like being so far from home, like I was always, under my mom's watch and supervision, just kind of, 45 minutes down the street. And now it's, a 5-hour flight just to get out here. And it was tough at first, but like going to college and experiencing college, like it prepared me for that moment. It's obviously a totally different lifestyle of being a pro and being in college, but it was good that I was able to, separate from, living at home and being at home. And then now, being on the West Coast. So,
yeah.
And I have family in LA. So my mom uses it as an excuse to come out here. Like, oh, I'm gonna go visit some family. So,
I mean, now you got a crib, like you're a West Coaster. So
yeah, exactly. West Coast.
Yeah. Welcome to the left side. Well, I want to say right side, but right, left side.
Are you going to ask Eryk about one of his T2 experiences?
Okay. I was going, yes, at some point. You just derailed my lineage here with that
Your
last
lineage.
Question. Yeah, I was okay. We were talking about boom, he's on the rise, balling out, MLS is back tournament, and then you just go and ask him what's it like living on the West Coast. I had a whole little arc here, but I am planning on bringing this up. We'll get to this. We'll get to that question towards the end.
Okay. It's one of the great moments in sports.
I know it's one of the greatest sports moments in all of history. We'll get there, but okay, let's get back to a little bit more of this arc that I had planned out. Okay. So you're balling out, lift a trophy, MLS is back tournament, and then you get called into a national team camp shortly thereafter, correct? Was that a January camp?
Yeah, January 2021, I think it was.
Okay. Yeah, January camp. And then how far after that? Was Gold Cup that same camp, or was this a different one?
No, January camp was obviously January, and then I went to Mexico, the 23s. Didn't make that team, and then I was like, shit, there's my time in the national team. Like, I can't even make the under 23 team, let alone the full team. But then Gold Cup was that summer. Started in July, I think it was.
And then, so then what happened in between that? So you didn't make the 23s camp, but you're like, what the fuck? And then you were just kept playing well with the first team. And then were you surprised to get called into that Gold Cup roster, or how did that work?
Yeah. So like, going back to your question of like coaches that didn't like my style of play or seen it, the 23s coach was a perfect example. He was like, yeah, you just, you're basically, you didn't make the cut. And a lot of it was how I played, how fast I played, how I was, moving essentially. And I was like, well, shit.
Yeah.
And coming back from that, I was like, fuck it, bro. I have nothing to lose. Like at that point, I just re-signed in Portland. I was like, bro, I have nothing to lose. Like national team doesn't want me, so I'm just going to go try and ball out for Portland.
You just got a nice deal. Congratulations again. I've already talked to you about that, but so yeah, that kind of gives you a little bit of security, but also just kind of like the confidence of like, oh, like I know where I'm gonna be. I got a nice bag. Like let me just go and ball.
Yeah, and that's basically was what my mentality was. It's like, well, I don't have to worry about a contract situation. I don't have to worry about trying to impress the national team because they already said no. So I was like, let me just go out and try and do what I can do. And I think that confidence of having some security, having, like staff and players who believe in me. I was like, well, I'm gonna ride with this confidence, and it was like, honestly, I think it was, you know, the best I've played, and just kind of when you have nothing to lose, going out there, you know, trying to win games that we weren't supposed to win with, you know, without Diego Chara. It's like, hey, I think we've won 5 games, and 3 of them was the past year. So when you have nothing to lose in that situation, it's just kind of like, that's when you play your best. Like you try new things. You know, I'm out here playing 6, and I was like, bro, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm chasing strikers around and getting stiff armed by strikers, and I was like, shit, like this isn't. Fuck it, like let's just see how this goes. So I think that's what ended up, you know, allowing me to get called to the Gold Cup, and it was one where like I had something to prove, just kind of not making that team, but it was also. It's also one of those where I'm like, hey, I know I'm good enough to play on the national team. If you guys don't like me, then it's as simple as that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that must have been validating to get that call up, you know, after missing out on a camp and then just kind of going out and doing your thing. It must have been like, yeah, like I am worthy of being called up and having my place in that roster. But then, so you made your debut in the Gold Cup. You've obviously played for youth national teams. You played for, I'm sure you got called into some 23s camps though, right?
Yeah,
at some point, yeah.
I think
so you played for the 23s, played for the 20s, youth national teams, all that. But this is the first time you play in a game for the full national team. That's kind of like, I mean, shit, for me, that was a dream as a kid. At this point, probably not going to happen for your boy, you know? Like,
hey, don't,
not, you know,
you never know.
Not ruling it fully out, but like,
never know.
Probably not happening for the kid, but like,
Eryk, put a good word in for him, will you?
This is like, I feel like a childhood dream for like a lot of young American soccer players is to play for the national team. Did that hit any different to make that debut? Just talk about that experience for a little bit compared to some of your youth national team experiences. Was that different?
Yeah, like I got called into this like obviously January camp, and that's when I kind of knew. I was like, well, this is like, you know, a top level you want to hit, but there was no games, so it's like, all right, well, you're in and around the environment, you kind of feel the situation, but then playing in the game, it was, you know, as I'm warming up, I'm like, oh, like maybe I'll play. Like I don't know if he'll put me in. I don't know if he'll put me in. And then it's like your name's called, and it's kind of like you kind of black out in the moment. You're like, shit, I can't see anything. Like where are my shin guards? You know, like you're like going through all the checklists. Like, okay, do I have gum? Do I have shin guards? Like, oh, I need Vicks, and you're like putting Vicks on your chest or something, and it's like, damn, like this is the moment. And then it was kind of like afterwards when, like you get back to your phone and you kind of realize like a milestone you hit or accomplishment you hit. You're like, you know, my mom was texting me, my brother, you know, everyone's like, yo, like congrats, like that's so hype. It's just kind of like a surreal moment. And then, you know, I actually put a post on social media. I went to the Gold Cup in like 2013 or something.
Oh yeah, I saw that photo.
And I was like, damn, like
as a fan, right? As a fan, as a
like,
kid.
Like kid fan, I'm like, yo, like this shit is dope. Eddie Johnson came on, like first touch, bangs a header, and I'm like, damn, I want that shit to be me one day. And it's like, you don't think about something like that until like it's close enough to happen. And then like I went back and I was like, you know, I actually went to a Gold Cup game, and to have my first game be a Gold Cup, that, you know, if you told me back then I was going to be in that situation, I'd be like, yeah, fuck off, there's no chance.
Yeah, as a kid.
Now it's, you know, it's something that we turned into a reality, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, that's incredible. I saw that photo of you know, then and now. You're a little kid. What were the nerves like when you step on? You know, you're waiting to go into the game, and boom, you're stepping onto the field.
I mean, it's I thought it was gonna be a different beast, and it definitely is. It was faster. It was, you know, more intense, but again, like I wanted to stay true to like who I was as a player. I didn't want to go in and play scared, or go in and just not be who I am, or be able to show who I am. And I think it was, you know, maybe max like 20 minutes. But it was like, all right, well, let's see what I can show in these 20 minutes. You know, I'm breathing like, obviously, Max, you know, as a sub, it's like you come in like you would have thought you didn't.
It's one of the harder things to do. Yeah. I mean, that must have been like, obviously, like coming into any game as a sub, like your nerves are a little different because you're like coming in, like you're trying to jump into a already moving river, you know? It's like, oh,
exactly.
And then especially for like a game of that magnitude, it's like even faster and like you feel the stakes. So you're probably like looking around like crazy and just, yeah, I can only imagine. So you ended up coming as a sub in that game, and then you started the next game, right?
Yeah, I started the next game against Martinique, which was kind of like I felt like it was a rotation game, but it was also a game where like I could make my claim, like, hey, listen, like I can play, like if you want to play. So I think I played, you know, 60, 75 minutes there, and it was, you know, I think it was a good showing. And it's one of those where, yeah, it's like you come out the game, you're like, all right, well, I did a lot that I wanted to do. Like, obviously it wasn't going to be perfect. And, you know, I think I took that, you know, head on. Was, you know, this is my moment to show, you know, that I can play. And then obviously you don't play the next two games and you start getting in your head. And the next thing you know, you're starting a final against Mexico.
What was the walk us through a little bit of like the moments of finding that out, or like, yeah, I'm sure you said you didn't play the next two games. You must have been thinking like, oh, I'm not in the mix for the final. And then from that to starting the final against Mexico, like big ass rivalry game, hardware on the line. So just how did that transpire?
We talked a little. I think the quarterfinal against Jamaica was like, hey, listen, we were thinking about starting you, but we'll see. But if you don't start you, you're for sure going to come in the game. Don't come in the game. Like, well, shit. Like this
That's classic.
This motherfucker just lied to me. So then, like, next thing you know, I'm just like, all right, well, we played. I think Qatar was the next game. And then I was like, all right, well, let's see if I play. I came in and it was 0-0. I'm like, well, it's win or go home. So we have nothing to lose except going home. So let's just see what ended up putting in. I think it was like 10 minutes, ended up winning the game off of, you know, like a 1-2.
You were involved in the game winning goal. Don't undersell it, Eryk. Don't undersell it. Come on. We know.
I know. And it's one of those that you kind of sit back after like, you know, that was my job. Like, was to go in and change the game, win this game. And I fucking did it, you know? So then we fly to Vegas and I'm thinking of maybe I just come as another sub. Like, fuck, that's my role at this point. And then a day before the game, we're doing the walkthrough and it's like, hey, Eryk, go line up. Like you're next up essentially and win. And I was like, well, let me see if I do the right thing today. And then end up starting the game. And I shit you not, like finding out I'm starting, I was like, I think Greg does it like right before pregame meal. Oh, so like, it's one of those.
That's the worst.
So I'm like, there's no way he's gonna tell me I'm starting right before I'm eating. So I go and I'm like, all right, I don't want too much pasta. I can't have like not enough pasta. Like, do I drink this? No, I don't drink water before a game. And it's like you're over here like thinking, and I'm like, all right, well, all I can do is just act like it's just another game. And you run out and you're getting booed by 60,000 fans, or it sounds like you're getting booed by 60,000 fans. And like,
you probably were. That's probably how the ratio was. Let's be real.
The thing is, like, I knew that shit was a rivalry when like some dude was like Williamson. You know, of course you hear like some random. You kind of look and he just like flicks you off.
Like, oh.
And I'm like, wow. Like I thought this was gonna be like a good game or something, and it's just like straight up like it was a fuck you in my face.
It's
and I was
a war.
Well, I was going to ask that very question. Is playing against Mexico just a uniquely different experience than playing against any other international opponent for a U.S. team? Is it just, you can say every game, is the same and we take but is it different?
1,000%. It's just a different mentality. Like, going in, like, it's not like, oh, we have to go beat these guys. Like, nah, we got to go we got to go fuck them up. And like, that's kind of was our message. And, I got kicked in the head and I was like, oh, like,
I remember
that's when I know I'm like, oh, like you guys aren't playing games today. And it was, corner kicks or something, you know, you feel a little pinching, you hear something in your ear, you kind of turn, and then you know, it's just little things like that like it didn't have the feel of just another game. And I knew like I had to stay true to the game or my game, but also like know that like, all right, there's got to be a little like nastier bite to it. Like this guy's running through, okay, like let me trip him just to make sure that like he's not going in easily. So
no, I mean, you could tell as a fan, it's next level. So I mean, I can only imagine on the field that it's you feel that competitiveness ramp up in certain occasions, and I'm sure it's the same in that. Okay, you guys win the final. The game being played in Vegas, or am I tripping?
Vegas.
The game was played in Vegas.
Raiders Stadium.
Oh,
it's like a Darth Vader kind of look, and I was like, yo, like this shit is real deal.
It's crazy.
It's like 80,000. Was it 80,000 people there?
I want to say their max capacity is 61 because I think it was sold out and it was 61,000.
Yeah, it was crazy. And that was like 100. The winning goal was scored in like the 118th minute.
Yeah. Like I think I might have played 80 something minutes, calves cramping again. I was like, damn, like Greg, like get me out of here, bro. Like,
you put in your shift. You did what you needed to do.
It's one of those, like, even on the bench here, you're still racing. Like once you scored, I try to run to the corner, and it's like I just feel like knots in my calf. Yeah. This could be a long recovery after this one.
I mean, bro, if once you win that trophy, the pain goes away. Once the Coors Light starts hitting in the locker room, you know. Okay,
Modelo's.
Yeah, you've won. Okay, you've won trophies in the past, but what was this like? I mean, you're in Vegas. You don't need to share too many details. We could say that for another time. But like, what was the celebration like? I mean, you won Western Conference before, won MLS's back tournament. What was this different? I mean, it being your country and, you know, Vegas, Raiders Stadium, beating Mexico overtime. Like, what was that? What was the celebration like?
I mean, it was next level. Like I flew my mom and my brother out because I mean, this is like a once in a lifetime game.
Oh yeah.
The final, flew them out, and it was one of those like we're taking pictures on the field and we're out there forever. And I was like, it's one of those like you felt drunk on the field because you had so much excitement.
Oh, so much.
I was like, yo, like why do I feel like I just had 15 shots and I'm buzzing, and it was it was next level. You show up in the locker room, everyone's doing like belly slides and everything there. Like the amount of beer and champagne that was like poured on people, like that was when you win something like that, like you just kind of feel like you can do whatever. And it was like I was pouring beer on the coaching staff, and like if you look back, like wow, like I really poured beer on our head coach or our assistant coach. It's like it's something you can't make up. And then like everyone wanted to just go back to the hotel. We stayed like 20 minutes from like downtown, so everyone's like, yo, like let's just go back. So like I didn't shower, I didn't take off my cleats. Like everything I had, like I just picked up and walked straight to the bus. Like everyone's like, all right, like let's go back.
Yeah, we gotta
shower back at the hotel. And like still, like I haven't worn those cleats that I wore that game since. Damn. And it's like they're stiff, like they're a rock because all the beer that just was like sunk into them. And trying to travel back without everything, like I smell like a liquor store in the in the airport, because all I have is just like beer filled clothes in my backpack, and it's like I can smell it through. And I was like, yeah, this isn't a good look.
Yeah. Hey, but you're coming. It's an okay look if you just won the Gold Cup final in Vegas. So
yeah, that was I watched that whole game, and that was an amazing. It was a goosebump kind of game for us, and particularly when a player who's playing, right? Like I know that guy, that's Eryk.
Yeah. No, that was very cool. Okay. We've taken a lot of your time, and I do want to, I mean, we kind of touched on it a bit earlier of like the moment you got injured and kind of your recovery process. And I want to save, potentially looking forward to maybe having you on a second time and talking about this comeback. But just real quickly, like obviously we've talked about how much of a high you were on. You know, you just won a Gold Cup final and you started that game. You know, that's some goals right there. And then obviously now you've kind of had to come back to earth a little bit. What are kind of what's some motivation for you going into this comeback? Like what are you thinking? What are some things our listeners, our audience can expect from Eryk coming back from this?
No, I mean, like, the biggest thing is just the World Cup at the end of the year. Like, it's just such a motivation. Like, everyone dreams of playing in the World Cup, and knowing how close I was of, being in Greg's first group. Like, my initial thoughts, like, fuck, like, I got to be back at it as quick as possible. Like, I got to make sure that, I'm playing my game as fast as possible in terms of, getting back to what I was doing before. I think it's something that's going to be tough, but I'm not too worried about it, because, like, even now, like, I feel, I just feel stronger. And it's just my biggest takeaway from it all is that, like, there's always room to grow. And maybe I changed my game a little, but, like, not changing it too much. Like, I don't want to be, the power number 6 who's just holding people off the entire time. But, like, maybe that's a part of my now is, maybe, I can be a hold up striker if you need me, just a little thing. Like that. It's biggest motivation is just kind of get back in the national team. Just knowing that it's a World Cup year, 4 more years, like, who knows what the hell can happen in 4 years. And my biggest thing is just taking it day by day to make sure that I could, be in that situation. I don't want to rush it too much where, I go into one tackle and I'm going to be hurt for 3 weeks. It's just little shit like that I'm really pushing for. I think the trainers here are pushing for, but we got to stay healthy with it and stay realistic. But that's just kind of my biggest goal and motivation is being Greg's guy.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good thing to have a goal that is that it's realistic, but it's also like you will have to work to get there. It's not just an easy goal. You're just going to like, oh, I'm going to play a game for the Timbers in the 2022 season. Like that's something that I think, given who you are, is easily achievable. But to set a goal like that challenges you to stay present in every day. Like you said, you're not looking too far ahead, because if you are, you're going to not be there every day, put in that work to get to that. So I think we're going to be in your corner as you are in pursuit of that goal. But I know that whatever happens, you're going to be back on your trajectory towards where you were. And we're confident of that, because I know you, we know you, and, you got bright things ahead of you. But okay, my dad did bring up something we do have to briefly talk about before we end this, before our ending segment. But there's we did have a guest on by the name of Foster Langsdorff, and there's an incident where I think we need to get your account of, because according to Foster, who may have gotten in some legal trouble due to this incident, he may have been, some may say he was baited by you. Some may say that he was the one who initiated it. Can we just get some account of maybe what happened at the Denver airport? I believe this is 2018 or 2019. Maybe just give us a little bit of what happened with your remembrance of this incident.
Tell you what, I've told this story to some of the guys. I'm like, bro, you can't make this shit up. Like, there's no way someone would do, like, it's like telling a kid, like, yo, go slap your mom or something, and you're like, nah, like, all right, here's $20, like go do it. Like, there's something outrageous, but
reckless.
We're just kind of bored, It's one of those trips that we're like, we're in Denver, we're having it, everyone's again vibing with each other, and
good group.
I think when I came to baggage claim, he might have hopped in and then hopped out.
Yeah,
and everyone's like,
happening.
Yeah, just like, like super funny Foster.
Okay, and so setting the stage just for our listeners, because I know this story, but T2, the whole team's at the Denver airport. You're at the luggage carousels, right? Waiting, presumably for your for the team's luggage to be unloaded from the plane.
Correct.
In Denver's airport has a is it for large
oversized luggage? Yeah,
oversized luggage that just kind of revolves around the side, like on the wall. And Foster hops in it and hops out, and it's one of those that like you could stand in comfortably, but it's not the biggest the biggest thing ever. So I was like, Foster, how much would it take for you to hop in it and ride it around? He's like, oh, like, I'm not going to do it. I was like, I'll give you all of my per diem. We were getting what, $20 a trip?
Yeah.
$30 a trip.
Maybe, depending on the trip, but it's not crazy.
It wasn't something, it wasn't anything that was like a great amount. So I was like, oh, okay, like this is realistic. I can get Foster $30 every time we travel. Like, here, take that. We weren't supposed to have it technically anyways. Here, take this. So he goes, all your per diem for the rest of the year? I said, yes. So he came over, he eagerly comes over to me and shakes my hand. And I'm like, no, he's not going to do it. There's no way. Yeah. So he kind of is just thinking to himself, like, is this dumb? Is this the right thing to do? And then he's kind of pacing back and forth. Next thing you know, we're just watching him. And all we see him do is kind of bloop, into
that's the perfect sound. It was a little hop. He's in there.
Just a little hop and just stands in it. And we're thinking like, oh, like it kind of goes around the corner. And we're like, oh, he definitely just hopped right back out. There's no way.
Yeah.
So like a minute or two goes by and like this thing is constantly going. So we're like, shit,
he's got to come around sometime.
Where the fuck is Foster at? So then 5 minutes goes by. We're like, yo, I've seen this number. I've seen 71 like 3 times. Like Foster like had to have come around by now.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I see one cop come. I'm like, oh, maybe it's just, a cop. I see a second cop, third, fourth. And I was like, oh shit.
Oh, no.
We've done something.
Yeah.
Something. Granted, the coaches have no idea what happened. They're all looking at us like, why are you guys watching the cops?
Yeah.
I wasn't going to tell them Foster. So I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I just see like a cop talking to Foster, and Foster's, as red as a tomato, just like talking. I'm like, yo, what happened? He kind of looked at me like, no, like, don't talk.
No.
I was like, you can't be mad at me. Like, I didn't think you're going to do it. And like still to this day, like I still talk to Foster. I'm like, yo, Foster, like I'll give you $30 if you really wanted to do this.
Whatever you need it.
He told us he's been waiting for that per diem money to come in. He waits every time he goes to the mailbox. He thinks this will be the day where Eryk honors that bet.
Oh, I tell you what, the worst part about the whole situation is that I didn't travel after this. Like,
oh yeah.
Like if T2 played in Portland, I was playing, but then like I would make the bench for the first team if T2 had to go to like El Paso.
Yeah.
So I wasn't physically traveling anywhere. So I was like,
tough.
Foster, like you made $40 that trip, but I never traveled again. So it was 40.
Okay.
It was
incredible.
That's your excuse for not paying. No, he told us that he's still on the Homeland no fly list because of that.
He may never be let into the Denver airport again.
I felt so bad for him, and like Cam kind of gave us a speech, and I'm like,
Cam got mad at us for not stopping him, and it's like there's only so much we can do.
Bro, exactly. And that's all those things. Like, bro, there's no way we can stop a grown man from not getting like anyone who. You can throw it out there and no one's gonna do it. Like if you anyone on any trip, like, hey, go do that. And I don't think Foster thought about like how legally fucked up it was going back. So
yeah, airports are not a place to be fucking around.
Not a place to be around, let alone baggage place. So.
Yeah, who would have guessed that you'd get in trouble for riding the baggage carousel all throughout the Denver airport, going into the back secure area?
Exactly.
With Foster, I would think that's something I never rule anything out with him.
I tell you what, like it like 2 weeks I think went by, and I was like, yo, Foster, bro, I have to ask you, what did you see back there? Like
it's a mystery.
Yeah, and he was just like, oh, well, basically a guy saw me and he kind of put me behind a door, and like I tried to leave the door, but it was locked, and I was like, yo, Foster. Like I would be terrified. Like I wouldn't know what to do if I was a guy working. I would kind of be like, "What the fuck? Like what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah,
but
man, pure panic.
That's a great story. It's like minor league baseball, right? It's kind of one of those sports stories that can it possibly be true, and it is.
It's a great story. Yeah. Okay, that was a great. I'm glad you brought. I was gonna bring it up. I'm glad you brought it up to remind me, Dad. I'm glad we got your account. So now we'll let the audience figure out, what really happened. They know all sides of the story.
Who's the blame?
I mean,
Fossey says it's my fault.
We're all to blame. I'll take a little bit in this. I was a bystander. I was just dying laughing. Okay. We've taken enough of your time, Eryk. We do have one last very quick ending segment. And then you'll be Gucci to chill on this Sunday. It's called What Are You Eating, Reading, Preaching, and Plugging? So first segment, not sure if you're cooking much in the new crib. What do you eat? So it could be a chance. Okay, it's not a ton of cooking. That's fine. You're in Portland, great food city, as we know. Is there a restaurant you've been eating at recently? I think Eam has already been shouted out on here, so you can't say Eam.
I had Eam last night, so.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, something other than Eam. Is there a Portland eatery you'd like to highlight?
I've been eating a lot of Thai food.
Okay.
Just kind of like, it's always a go-to. So I've always been. Farmhouse just opened a new one in the Pearl, so it's.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, it's they have the one on the east side still, but they have the one. It's like right across from do you know where like Splash would be?
Yeah.
Or Trash. It was. Yeah. Well, they turned that into a new place, which is like a Latin bar, but it's right across the street from that. Kind of in the Pro, and it's.
Damn. There's a farmhouse in Oakland too. So
really?
Yeah, it's cash. Okay, so farmhouse, what you're eating. What are you reading? What are you reading? Is there anything you've read? You've got some, obviously busy right now, but
yeah, I haven't I was usually reading on planes, and I was still like in school. I never read the autobiography of Malcolm X for some reason. I don't know why, but so whenever I still take it with me on flights. I think it's been a year of actively reading it. Like it's just so dense that you're not getting very far on.
It's okay. I'm not reading a ton right now, so I understand. It can take a minute to get through a book.
Yeah. I'm probably halfway through that, and it's been a year, and I'm like, all right, well, I also haven't traveled the last 6 months, so it's
tough. So we'll check in with you on the next time how the rest of the autobiography of Malcolm X has been.
Exactly.
Do you read any motivational stuff, or I know a lot of these athletes, Max included, read not necessarily books, but parts of books that talk about motivation or journaling and stuff like that, or it's not your thing?
I'm a huge fan of the Players Tribune, letter to my younger self. I have a few of those saved as PDFs that I'll scroll through. I think the Ray Allen one is one that really cut deep, and that's one I think I have saved on every device I have, my computer.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
So that's one I've kind of read about. It's not really motivational, but it's just kind of how people have thought and what they would say to their younger self. And I mean, shit, I hope one day I could write one towards the end of my career, whether it goes on Players Tribune or just to have. So
yeah. No, I think that's a good exercise. I think I've done some journaling in the past, and that was one of the prompts that I've done before. It's good exercise. Yeah. So good shout. Okay. Reading, preaching. So this is, what are you preaching? Is there any, words of wisdom, some sort of motto you've used throughout this, challenging period you've gone through? I don't know. Anything?
Yeah. A little bit of I mean, it's just a very broad saying of we move. It's just kind of, how I ended my post about the ACL. I know that we wanted to do a little docu-series of, and label it we move. It's just every day we're moving, you move forward, whether it's, good day or bad day, it's, you just kind of keep it going. So
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of, especially when we lost the final, I think it's one that, like, you know, everyone's hurt, and like that just kind of cut deep was we move again, and it's like,
Yeah.
On to next year, like all we can do, nothing we can do about it now. So
yeah, no, I think that's a good one. I think like a lot of people talk about how the worst thing that can happen is staying in the same place. You know, whether you're getting better 0.001% or 10% in a day, any sort of movement is progress. So I think that's a good one. And then last, what are you plugging? Is there anything that you want to plug? You know, you got your socials, maybe this podcast, you can plug us, you know, anything you want to plug. You know, you might be getting into some business ventures now that you're all bagged up, living in a new crib.
No, I just need, I mean, like obviously my shoes, other than that, like I'm not really like, you know, that's kind of been my like focus, is just kind of, you know, getting a new pair that like means something. So like maybe I'm plugging my collection a little bit, you know, just a little
shoe collection.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go. You do have, I will say, you probably have one of the better shoe collections I know. So.
No, but it's tough when I come to Portland and I'm dealing with Eryk, and then, you know, you're rolling out with human races every week, and I'm like, yo, like
Adidas plug.
I gotta compete, you know. So it's
we push each other.
You had a pair when like the first trip, like that was, I forget what you wore, but you wore something. I'm like, damn, Max had a shoe collection too.
Yeah, I had to pull them out for travel days.
Yeah, I was like, now I got to compete with Max on T2 too, because like it's not like a competition. Like, damn, you know, my shoes are better. It's like, oh, like, you know, we're stepping up the game. All right, we're gonna step up the game.
Yeah,
and like
respect.
And now it's like, you know, Larice, like all these guys are, you know, Larice just started a competition yesterday of who's gonna win.
I saw that you were wearing some nice threes. Larice was rocking some Vans though. Like he can't be starting a competition and then rocking some Vans. I
today some ones, and he's wearing some like Adidas originals that are like see through, and I'm like, what happened to the competition? Like, I thought we were, you know, stepping each other's game up a little. So
he comes with some fits though, I will say.
But once he said it's 1-0 me, I was like, oh shit, I'm in for a competition, because you know he has all the Yeezys, you know, all the Nike Yeezys, and I was like, this is
he's got some bread that he's
Do your new house have a designated shoe spot to highlight the collection?
Yeah, I have a whole sneaker room. Like it's just, I don't know if you guys wanted to see it, but
is that you could send me a photo of it, and we may feature it on the Marathon Minute page. Never know.
So I like basically like I have like they had it as an office before. And I was like, oh, like maybe I can turn this into something, and just kind of turn it into like I might make it like a collection room in terms of, you know, balls that I get or jerseys, and like kind of frame. So
I'll send you one, Nora.
Do you swap jerseys with players? Is that something you kind of look to do, or is it
every game? Sorry, I shouldn't say every game. Anytime it's someone I actually know and I'm close to, I swap jerseys. Like Jabo, we always swap jerseys, or we swapped jerseys when he got traded. All the guys from Maryland. I'm pretty sure I swapped with Kendall when Kansas City came here.
Yeah.
It's just anyone that I've either played with or cool with, I've swapped jerseys. And I mean, I have a pretty good collection. I have, you know, Las Vegas lights, and
that's some good ones.
Freddie Adu's jersey.
No, Foster got that. Freddie Adu came into the locker room and like hand delivered it to Foster. He's like, we need to do an exchange, which is just adds to the legend, really.
It does.
It's just incredible.
Oakland Roots has some good swag. They're
Oh, I know. And I was trying to get a jersey, but of course there's no T2, and I'm like, oh well, we can't even play each other, so
I know.
It just might have to be like
maybe Open Cup. We'll make a run, or we'll just do it in the mail.
Yeah, just like a non-playing swap. Like, yo, good game last night.
I'm about it.
Good game last night. So
just make them game worn. Just send them in the mail sweaty.
No. I'll send you a jersey with a Marathon Minute tee.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
That'll be fire.
That's the one. I have gotten some sweaty jerseys that have not smelled the best, and I'm like,
it's tough.
you could have kept that one. So, but it's always a funny one to have like someone who's just like sweating profuse. It's like soaking wet and like,
yeah,
it's tough.
I'm like, yo, I don't even sweat. So like, here's a dry jersey essentially.
Yeah. Must be nice. Okay, Eryk, this was a pleasure. This was a blast. I think the way that it was just great to catch up because, bro, this was much needed. Been too long. But two, I think the timing of this is going to be dope to release this sometime right around your comeback or close to your comeback, and then to kind of, as we have been the past couple of years, but continue to follow you on this journey. And it's inspiring, bro, to see how much you've grown in the last couple of years and to see the possibilities of where you can continue to go. It's very cool to watch, and you got us in your corner. We're supporting you, and shit, bro, I'm looking forward to checking in for another episode down the line. You're part of the family before, but now you're officially part of the family. And this was a privilege to have you on. You know, we got you to open up a little bit, you know, the long, it's what we do. It's what we do.
Yeah. They bear all for us.
Yeah. This isn't a pressure one, like a Timber interview. It's like, you're like sweating profusely, just like talking. So it's exactly.
Much appreciated, Eryk, of your time. You've been very generous and much appreciated. And I meant what I said when I really admire the way you play soccer. I mean, you're a great guy, so I know soccer, it's not all about soccer. You've got, your personal side, but from the first time I saw you play, I said, this guy, he's really uniquely gifted, and you've proven me correct, which I appreciate. And I wish you the best of luck on your recovery. Can't wait to see you back on the field, because I just enjoy watching you play, and I want to see you play again, and maybe with a headband, huh? You gonna go headband?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I had a really bad tan yesterday from it, so I was like, it might be time to hang it up. Last thing I need is to go to dinner, and I gotta, I'm light here and a little darker the rest of the face. So.
You're allowed to wear a headband in games?
I don't see why not, unless
there's a guy.
Soccer is weird like that.
There's a guy who plays in Newcastle who's like doing it, and everyone's like, "Oh, you look like this guy." And I was like, I didn't even, I'm not a huge soccer watcher, so like I didn't know who they were talking about. I had to Google it. Yeah. And he's like wearing like Louis Vuitton ones and like.
I know who you're talking about, Max. Is it Saint Maximo or Saint?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I mean, he's swaggy. So
maybe a line of headbands in the future.
Yeah, exactly. Headband line. But
we'll check in on the headband for next episode. But yeah, like I said, bro, this was dope.
For sure.
This was dope.
Yeah, good luck to you, Eryk.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be well, Eryk.
All right, bro.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you.
Anytime. Appreciate you guys.
I'll hit you soon.
All right, sounds good.
All right, bro.
All right, see ya.
Bye.